Hey, this is Coach Hardwick. I don't like missing class, but I want to make sure that you all still getting your material. So please feel free to pause, skip ahead as needed. All right, don't like reading to my students, so you can read the slides yourself, but I'm going to give you a summation that atoms is the basic unit of matter. When I'm teaching my chemistry students, I ask them what is chemistry, because remember in biology was the study of life. Well, chemistry is the study of matter, and matter is made up of atoms. And then of these, I guess you could say atoms contain subatomic particles, which are protons, neutrons, and electrons. This is very important. I want you to understand that the number of protons is like the identity of the element. If you're looking at carbon inside a microscope, you're not going to see the letter C. You're going to see 6 protons. If I add a proton, that changes the element. Okay, and every single neutral atom will have the same amount of protons as it has electrons. So because I see 6 protons in front of me, that lets me know that I have 6 electrons. And then if you are trying to find a number of neutrons, as the formula says in front of you, take the mass number, which is the big number on the bottom, and sometimes it'll be on top, but at the end of the day, the mass number is the biggest number because it contains both the protons and the neutrons. But take the mass number, subtract it by the number of protons, and then that will give you the amount of neutrons. And that's essentially important for isotopes. I already touched on this, but at the end of the day, the atom, if it's neutral, have the same amount of protons as it has electrons, and they're neutral. If it's not neutral, see a plus or a minus charge. All right, at this point, make sure you practice. Find boron on the periodic table. Find its number of protons, neutrons, electrons. Let me know what you get. All right, ions are all about the loss of electrons or the gain of electrons. If it gains electrons, then it will have a negative charge, and if it is losing electrons, it will have a positive charge. I'll elaborate more about this in class. All right, I'm going to go over this with you just to make sure that you have a good understanding. You see the fluorine with the negative charge, that means that it gained 1 electron. Therefore, fluorine typically has 9 electrons. Now it definitely has 10. Magnesium, it has a 2 plus charge, meaning that it lost 2 electrons. Therefore, it typically has 12. Now this magnesium has 10 electrons. Last but not least, aluminum has a 3 plus charge, meaning it's in group 13, so it typically has let's say 13 electrons. I don't have a periodic table in front of me. I'm going right off the head. I'm going to say it has 13 electrons. And if it has a 3 plus charge, it means it got rid of 3 electrons. Therefore, it has 10 electrons total. All right. So go ahead and practice about how many protons, neutrons, electrons are in aluminum with a 3 plus charge. All right, isotopes. I'm going to let you read the information to get a good understanding of isotopes because I'm going to elaborate more on this in class. But isotopes are elements that have the same amount of protons but different amount of neutrons. They look the exact same, but their, I guess you could say, atomic mass is different. So again, I'll elaborate more on isotopes in class. This is a great representation of 3 elements that are isotopes of each other. As you know, they all have the same number of protons, which means that they are all lithium. However, they have a different amount of neutrons, meaning they're isotopes of one another. Please forgive me if the dog barking in the background. This is more so a chemistry concept when we talk about average atomic mass, but the reason why I'm showing you all this is if you see the atomic mass at the bottom of the periodic table, it's just an average. So what you do, you'll take the decimal point and you'll round it to the nearest whole number, and usually use 2 digits after it, which is the 100 spot, to be most correct. So I will end the presentation here because again, this is a chemistry principle, but again, I will be in class, Lord willing, tomorrow to elaborate more on these concepts. Remember, the only thing that you need to cover is the subatomic particles, understand how to find protons, electrons, and neutrons, ions, and isotopes. Thank you for listening to this presentation. Have a nice day.